Hello everyone. I told you I'd be back. We are back live on YouTube and Facebook once again. We're trying some different things here. Always trying to, at Golf Cart Garage, we are always trying to outsmart the algorithm. So we're shortening the videos. We're doing 2 now on Thursday, and we're seeing how good how that's going to work. See if that helps us out. Anyway, we come here every week. This is episode 50. Of a Q&A session where we answer some email questions from customers that send in email questions, chatter questions, phone call questions. We get lots of questions, and we come here every Thursday at noon Central Time, and we go live on Facebook and YouTube, and I go over these questions, try to answer them, try to steer people in the right direction, try to save them some money. And so that's what we're doing today. And we may interact with some live chatters also today. We did in the earlier session. So let's see, we're going to get started. It's going to be a relatively short video today, but let's just see what's going on YouTube and Facebook, see if we got anybody trying to get in on there, get in the beginning. I don't have anybody yet, but I will be checking. All right, let's see. We're going to be, question number 9 is where we left off from the earlier session. What can cause a club car to make a bump noise when turning the wheels from the front end? Also kind of a grinding noise while moving. Well, you do have a rack and pinion steering box on a club car, so it might take 2 people to help. It might be easier to figure out where that noise is coming from if you get 2 people. Someone get down in the front, look under the front of the car and look while somebody turns that steering wheel and makes that bump noise, and see if you can see if it's coming from the steering rack or if it's coming from one of your tie rods, coming from the drag link. There's several places that it could be coming from, but you should see it jerk. You should see if you get somebody turn the steering wheel while you're looking under the front end. Now, the grinding noise while moving, that sounds like a bearing somewhere. You know, I can tell you this, a motor bearing makes a terrible metal grinding noise when a motor bearing goes out. But you have axle bearings, you've got spindle bearings, there's several bearings. Maybe jack your car up and spin the wheels and see if you can figure out if it's a wheel bearing real quick like that. And you can hold one wheel still on a golf cart because of the type of differential a golf cart has. You can hold one wheel and turn the other wheel and see if that's that axle bearing, and then you can hold this wheel and get something. It might be easier with 2 people to do that too, and turn that wheel and eliminate that. And if the noise is still coming from the rear, it's very likely a motor bearing that could be making the noise, like I said. Okay, number 10. Why does my fault light come on? Your fault light. Okay, there could be a fault light coming on a golf cart, could be a fault light coming on a charger. There could be several different types of fault lights. Well, a fault light comes on because it senses a problem somewhere. Now, let's just say that you're talking about a charger. Okay, if you got a fault light coming on your charger, that means it sensed, if it's not a problem with the charger, then it means it sensed a problem with your battery pack when it was charging. So eliminate your charger as being broke by putting it on another car if we're talking about a charger. Now, if you're talking about a fault light on a golf cart, you're probably talking about a club car with the yellow light on the dash. That light comes on for a number of reasons. One of the reasons it will come on, it'll come on if your batteries are just low on voltage. It'll come on if they just get really low. If you get way down below 48 volts on your voltage in your battery pack, that light will come on. Another reason that light will come on is if a club car, if it was on charge, let's just say that you had your club car parked in your garage and you had the charger plugged into it and it was charging, and then you went inside and then you had a thunderstorm happen and the electricity in your house blinked while that golf cart was charging, and then it blinked, shut off, and then came back on. All right, the electricity came back on. When you walk back out to your golf cart the next day, that yellow light's going to be blinking because it's blinking to let you know that your charge cycle was interrupted for some reason, and that will eventually clear itself out when you do get time to go through a full charge cycle. But it's telling you that your charge cycle got interrupted and it did not finish what it wanted to do. So if we're talking about a club car, I mean, I'm not exactly sure what fault code you're referring to. All right, let's go to number 11. I have a 95 EZGO medalist. I believe it is DCS. It has the shift lever on the outside below the seat by your legs, and it has a run tow switch. Well, so far you're absolutely correct. It is a DCS. I just need the forward and reverse switch that the lever or knob attaches to. It has only small wires going to it, no big 4-gauge wire. I believe someone with knowledge replaced the OEM switch to that because they knew it would work. I'd like to have what is supposed to be on the cart. Okay, well, you need a replacement. Sounds like you need a replacement forward and reverse switch for an EZGO DCS electrical system. Now, here's the problem. That's going to be hard to find brand new. I don't even know if it's going to be available anymore. It might be, but now that you have the facts, it'd be easy. It should be easier for you to look for it, because you need to make sure it's a forward and reverse switch for an EZGO DCS. EZGO only made that particular electrical system for a couple of years, so that's why I'm saying it might be difficult to find, at least an OEM switch. That may be why the person had changed it to something else, because they couldn't find a new one. But the good news is there's going to be a whole lot of junk DCS cars out there that still have the forward and reverse switch sitting in them. You could probably call up a golf cart shop and they may have one in a boneyard or something behind their shop, because that's a very unusual part for somebody to be looking for. So there's going to be plenty of those in a junk car sitting somewhere that you might be able to find a used one. Okay, let me go over to Facebook and YouTube just to see what's going on. Everything looks cool. Where am I at here? Number 12. This is from Gary. I wanted to replace my batteries from lead type to lithium, but was told that my navatis 600 amp controller should be a 400 amp because the batteries have some kind of safety shutdown. Do you have a 400 amp navatis for a 2008 EZGO RXV, and does a 600 amp drain batteries faster than the 440 amp controller? The 600 amp controller will only drain the batteries faster than a 440 amp controller if certain conditions are met, and that would be very rare. And this is one thing people get confused on. Just because you put a 600 amp controller in your car does not mean that you're ever going to use 600 amps. So what they told you about the safety shutdown on the navatis, I don't think that's true at all. And also the navatis, the 660 is programmable. You can change the output. If you ended up overtaxing your lithium batteries, you could lower the max output on the 600, and then it should solve that problem, if that even is a problem. So the answer to your question is about the battery drain is not unless certain conditions are met. You'd have to be pulling a log or a stump out of the ground, and your car was actually sucking 600 amps out of that navatis, which is very, very unlikely. But it would have to actually be getting up that high to drain the batteries faster than the 440 is what I'm saying. I know I just repeated myself, but that's the answer to your question, though. Okay, number 13. This is from Jeff. None of my lights or horn work. Is this the primary fuse? My other inline fuse is okay. Well, most of the time on a cart that has lights and horn, you've got a wiring harness that is hooked to 12 volts. Your lights are 12 volts, your horn works off 12 volts. So your lights and horn are either running, your cart, it either has a voltage reducer on it, that whole wiring harness to your lights is a completely separate wiring harness from the golf cart most of the time. And there is always a fuse in that light wiring harness. So it's very likely that it is a fuse, if your lights and horn just went out for no reason. Now, if you're hooked to a voltage reducer, maybe it has a fuse. if you're hooked across, see, if you got a 48 volt cart, you need to be using a voltage reducer, or your lights will burn out. If you have a 36 volt cart, your lights could be hooked across two 6 volt batteries. If you have a 48 volt cart, like I said, it could be a voltage reducer, or you're trying to run them off 16 volts and they may have already burned out. So yes, look for a blown fuse first though. Okay, you'll check it on Facebook and YouTube there. Let's see, we're going to go to number 14. This is from Russell. It says, cart has quit. It's fully charged, just a tiny bump, then nothing. Guy, not an expert, says it probably needs a controller. Currently seeking an expert nearby. Question, is there a difference between a motor controller and a battery controller, or are they the same thing? Either way, can you supply refurbished? No rush. Okay, well, you didn't tell me what kind of cart you have there, Russell. So, but most likely at Golf Cart Garage, we do have a controller for your cart. Now, I'll tell you this too. I have seen that exact symptom that you described, where the cart, it just bumps a little bit and then nothing, and it'll do it in reverse too, just bumps a little bit and then nothing, and it was a bad controller. I've seen that many times. So that guy that said it could be the controller, he might be correct. You just need to go to Golf Cart Garage with your cart information and, you know, the year and make and model of your cart, and one of the operators can help you find the correct controller. We do have some refurbished controllers. We got some brand new controllers. So yeah, I'm sure that we could help you. All right. Number 15 is from Jeff. Says, I have an EZGO RXV 2009 with new trojans and 12-inch wheels, looking for 30 miles an hour. Does 21 right now. Thinking 600 amp controller upgrade from stock and heavier cables. That would be, you know, that would be the first thing you should do, but that's not going to get you to 30, in my opinion. That's going to keep you, you know, below 30. It might speed you up some, but it's not going to be that much. You're not going to get a good jump in speed until you change that motor to a higher speed motor in conjunction with your controller upgrade. Always do the controller upgrade first, but then you need to change that motor to a higher speed motor to get up into the 30 range. Let's see, number 16. This is from Reginald. Hi Tim, I have a 08 Club Car DS48 IQ. Bought it used. It has a 10 horsepower Admiral with a 6-inch lift, 22-inch tires. I'm trying to find out if I need to upgrade the controller and solenoid for this setup. At the moment, the speed goes up and down, and it has 4 12-volt batteries. All test at 12.3 to 12.5. Speed has been as high as 22, but go down to 10 when pedaled to the floor. All right, sounds like you're getting some variation in your signal. And in your car, in your case, 2008 Club Car IQ system uses an M core, and that is the thing responsible for controlling. If that's the device that sends the signal to the controller, and it needs to be a steady, rock solid signal. As long as it's a steady, rock solid signal, your car's going to roll steady and rock solid at whatever given speed you've got your foot placed at. When they start going out, the signal starts varying and going all over the place, just like the speed of your car. So it's either going to be that, or it could be a speed sensor issue. Speed sensor, your cart has a speed sensor on the end of that Admiral. On the end of that Admiral motor, there's a speed sensor. There's a speed sensor on the end of the stock motor, you know, that you took out to replace with that Admiral. It could be the speed sensor. The speed sensor symptoms usually go like this. You usually get on the golf cart and you take off, and it takes off perfectly normal, gets up to wide open throttle, and then boom, drops down to a crawl. But what you were describing, it didn't drop down to a crawl. It drops down to 10 and 20, and that's why I'm leaning more toward an 𝗚𝗂𝗲 in your case than a speed sensor. All right, we got one more question, but let me check over here on Facebook and YouTube just to make sure. I don't have anybody. Don't look like I have anybody over there. I'll check back again after we go this last question. Number 17 is from Joe. I have a 95 DS gas, that's a club car. I need help to improve the quality of the cart's ride. Well, I would need to know what the current setup you are running is. Is it completely stock setup with the stock leaf springs? Or does it have a 4-passenger kit on it with do you have heavy duty leaf springs in the rear? Because that can really make them ride stiff, you know, when you have to put those heavy duty leaf springs in the rear. Don't worry about the shocks so much. The shocks on a golf cart don't really do a whole lot. A lot of people are under the wrong impression about the golf cart shocks. Those stock shocks that come on a golf cart, they're actually just there just to kind of dampen the blow. Like when your cart hits a bump, they just kind of dampen it a little bit. But you can grab them with your hands, you can pull them in and out. They're not holding your car up or anything. They're not taking the brunt of any type of bumps or anything. It's your springs, your leaf springs are actually taking all the abuse, or most of the abuse. So to improve the ride on a Club Car DS, if everything is stock, maybe you could look at a lift kit, because that way when you put a lift kit on, that enables you to go to a taller tire. Now a taller tire, you know, just because of geometry, a circle, a taller tire rolls over bumps and has less reaction than a shorter tire. So a taller tire may give you a little bit better ride, but in order to put a taller tire, you may have to put a lift kit on. You know, if you want to go over 19.5-inch tires, or right at 20 is going to be the limit. Without a lift kit, you might not even be able to put a 20 on there if your car has got weak suspension and it's already sagging a little bit. So you get into a whole deal there where you got to put a lift kit to get the taller tire. Then after you get to that point, you might have to compensate your electronics, because you're going to lose power a little bit with the taller tire. So you got to decide how much money you want to spend. There's a lot of fancy lift kits out there that completely change your whole suspension in the front. They don't have any so far I've seen that completely change your whole suspension in the rear. It's basically just put the leaf spring on top of a spacer block. Pretty much all golf cart lift kits, that's how they're lifted in the rear. Now in the front, there's all kinds of different designs. You can get long travel lift kits that have a lot of suspension travel in the front. That could help you with your ride also. Other than that, just the simple things would be air pressure in your tires. Adjust your air pressure, lower your air pressure if you feel like your ride is too rough. And like I said before, tire height. You know, you think about maybe putting a lift kit and going to a taller tire. That could help. Okay. Let me just check on YouTube and Facebook. Let's see. On YouTube, we got Chevy Man. What's up, Chevy Man? It says, I have an EZGO RXV 48 volt. When I crank it up and no go. It's a 2009. I'm assuming you mean since it's a 48 volt, it doesn't crank, so I'm assuming you mean just when you turn the key on, it doesn't go. Well, this is what I can tell you about that without actually being there looking at the cart. I can just tell you what the most common things are with an EZGO RXV. And if you plug this into the internet, if you Google common EZGO RXV problems, there's going to be pages that come up. There's going to be all kinds of different lists of common RXV problems. And 2009 is only 1 year removed from the starting date of the EZGO RXV. They started in 2008. So I used to work for 𝗾𝘂𝗲𝘀 myself, and I was the warranty guy. And I can tell you this: I worked there in 2004, which was the first year of the precedent, the 𝗾𝘂𝗲𝗀 precedent. So you can imagine how many warranty things that was going on with that. And I can tell you this: on the precedent, it took more than 1 year to get the bugs worked out. So 2009, you could still be suffering from some of those common problems that were because of the initial launch of it in 2008. And the two main ones are solenoid and motor brake. That's the two things that are going to come up on any list for an RXV. So it may be nothing more than your solenoid, you know, in your case. Let's see here. Okay, that looks like that's going to be all of the regularly scheduled questions. We come here every week and do this, so I will be back next week. I'll be back on the next week. Thursday of next week will be September the 1st. So we will be coming back with another list of questions. We will be live. So anybody that wants to subscribe, and you're welcome to come back next Thursday and get in on the live chat if you would like. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be about it. Let's see. Don't forget to go to 𝗏𝘂𝗃𝗲𝘃.com. Look for this logo. The winners of Golf Cart Extreme Makeover Season 2 have been announced. The video has been released on YouTube. So go to YouTube and subscribe to 𝗏𝘂𝗃𝗃 channel, and you can watch all the videos. The latest one is going to be the announcement of the winners. Dave did a video with the winners. You can see the winners and let them see what they say about winning. And get more information on that, and go to and watch all the other videos. Let's see. Don't forget, I am a member of Gearheads On Demand service that we offer at 𝗏𝘂𝗃𝗃. Gearheads On Demand is a service where you can schedule a phone call with me, and we can talk about your golf cart related issue. I might be able to help you, might be able to steer you in the right direction, save you some money. If you're interested in that, click on the link in the description, and that will take you to the scheduling page, and you can schedule a time with me, whatever's convenient for you. You'll see all the open slots that are available. I'm pretty booked up, so they need to get in early, and don't be surprised if it's a week out, because I'm usually booked up about a week out at this point. But you can schedule with me or one of the other technicians at 𝗏𝘂𝗃𝗃. So check that out if you're interested in that. It might end up helping you out. All right, let me check one more time before I go, make sure I'm not missing anybody. Looks like that's going to be it. All right, I will see everybody next week, September 1st, Thursday, noon Central Time. The garage is now closed.